Hello and welcome to Behind the Storyteller, a Notified podcast. My name is Alan Murphy, and this is the series where we take professionals from the worlds of IR and PR, or the corporate storytellers, and we give them the mic so that they can share their stories. I'm in the studio here with my co-host, Caroline Cullinan.
Hi, everyone.
And Pat O'Rourke.
Hey there.
And today we are joined virtually with our guest, Rachel Morrison. Rachel, hello.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
And as I just said, you're obviously not in the studio with us today. Where are you today?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, Beechwood. So a little bit outside of Cleveland, but Cleveland is our mailing address. So.
And that's where you and Pat met, right? That's
Well, we met virtually, but yes, I
originally.
I got to go to Cleveland a few months ago and got to hang out with Rachel in person. It was great.
And he came back very excited. He's like, I have our new podcast guest. Trust me, she's gonna be a blast.
Absolutely. I told her when we were at the cafe at their corporate headquarters, came back, emailed Alan, was like, got a guest. We have to get her on the show. So I'm glad that we're getting to do this.
So Rachel, obviously Pat knows you, but maybe not all of our listeners do. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Your role within the industry, or maybe your background, whatever you feel like chatting about today.
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you like the elevator speech first. So I'm the administrator for the Department of Investor Relations at Eaton Corporation in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been with the company for 10 years. I started as the executive assistant to the chief operating officer in our industrial sector. We have two different sectors, an industrial and an electrical. It's about 70-30 electrical to industrial. So we do, one of the biggest things that I was told when I first started was we make things that go into other things that make power. That's kind of my background here. And then, as I was telling Pat before, I actually have a degree in music. I have a degree in vocal performance. So for my college career, I did opera performance. I toured all over, Europe with choirs, and then did my master's in nonprofit arts administration. And that's when I started really getting into like the business side of things and growing different audience bases and doing marketing for different companies in the area. And then I did my internship at the Museum of Natural History, Cleveland Museum of Natural History, with the corporate development program. So basically helped them get their corporate partnerships program off the ground with all of the marketing materials and basically creating pamphlets and mailers and like how to create a very, it's hard to say, like a tangible thing that somebody could take with them. And they, you've had an Apple product, right? When you open it, you get like all of like the individual packaging things, and you like taking all of the things out of the thing.
It's a whole experience.
Right? So it's a whole experience. So it's about creating that experience. Like if somebody gets this, like it looks like an invite to something very important. I went and worked at a music school for 4 years, and I kind of helped them. This was after my master's program. I grew their student base from around 400 kids to 800. And then I helped them also create their online platform while working with a company in India to basically collaborate and integrate all of their payment processes and scheduling and teacher scheduling and combining, when teachers need off and how to reschedule students and giving parents an access to just be able to change their payment, because that was all just manual paperwork that the school was doing to that point. But I met with one of my friends who happened to be in HR working at Eaton Corporation. He and I had sung together. We went on choir tours, and he was in the same kind of position where he had a job, but also could sing on the side. And I was like, that sounds like something I might like. And he's like, why don't you just come check out Eaton? Just come have lunch with me one day, come see the building. And from that point, I was like, yep, that's where I want to work. And he wasn't able to hire me originally. So it took like 6 months of just back and forth. And he wanted to hire me within his department, which was like an administrative center of excellence, where I would be one of 10 or so admins supporting multiple functions across the company. And I was on LinkedIn one night, and I was still kind of like not feeling great about where I was in my career, how much money I was making. And I knew I could do more if I had more run room, I guess. And I saw a job posting, and it was like, hey, we're looking for an executive admin for chief operating officer. And I'm like, well, I've never assisted anyone. I've never done the job, right? But I've done all of these other things that have kind of led me to this point. And so I applied, and I sent him a text message. I'm like, hey, I know you wanted to hire me, but I applied for 2 jobs at Eaton tonight. And he's like, send me a screenshot. I sent him a screenshot, and he immediately calls me. He's like, do you realize what you've done? What? And so he told me about the guy I'd be, quote unquote, working for. And he was such a huge impact to the company itself and all of his extracurricular things that he had going on. He just had such a presence that I learned so much. I learned everything I knew about the company, everything I know about my job. I learned because of his guidance and his leadership. So it was a very, it was hard, but it was worth it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I have to imagine a position like that is like a crash course at any organization.
Yes.
You're going to be really, really high pressure and a lot of responsibility, and probably working all weird hours and everything. And if you make it through that, then you're going to come out the other side so well informed about the organization, its workings, and you're in a position to kind of do whatever you want at that point.
Right.
I can see why Pat wanted to bring you on, because you've done so much. Yeah. I mean, this could be like a 3-hour-long episode if we wanted it to be.
I know the opera, the musical background, the opera singing, the traveling. Like when you told me that story, or when you were telling me that when we were having coffee, it was like, it's just mind blowing, because you never know someone's background and what they've done or the things that they've done until you start talking to them.
Yeah,
and it was such an amazing, like, eye-opening experience, because we only had a work relationship at that point. We had this one very specific relationship, and getting to learn so much. And just as another quick aside, and I think I mentioned this while we were chatting in Cleveland, and we've had this conversation with a different podcast guest. It's amazing that people take a look at job listings and go, I've never done this title. Like, I've never been in this role before, so I shouldn't apply for it. It's not me. But you broke it down exactly the way that we should be thinking about it. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And these are all the things, these are the major pieces, these are what they're looking for, the requirements that they're looking for this role. The only thing I'm missing is the actual job title in my history. So taking that and being able to go, this makes sense. This is something that I should apply for, and taking that leap, by you doing that, you changed the course of where your life was going at that point. Where had you said, you know what, I've never been an executive administrator, I'm not going to apply for this. You'd be in a whole different, obviously you wouldn't be in this spot at Eaton, you wouldn't be in this role, and you don't know where you'd be at that point. It's like a whole sliding doors kind of feeling to it. Dating
That's
myself
a parallel universe that I'm glad I'm in this timeline sometimes.
Exactly. So
outside view, I'm not sure about the timeline, but inside, I'm great.
You know what? I think this might be a good segue for us, because, we wanted to get to know you, your background, kind of how you got to where you are today. And, now that we've established our character for today's story, let's talk a little bit about some sort of a conflict that you've faced, in your role, whether it's your current role or something in the past. But we'd like to hear a little bit about, let's do a bit of a deep dive on some sort of struggle or something from which the audiences that are watching or listening to us might be able to learn from.
I think now, like one of the biggest and most urgent struggles we're finding is AI. Right?
Yeah.
That's super topical. Essentially, we were charged internally recently, within the last 6 months, to basically have a very high dollar amount of cost out related to AI. And because our team is so small, our boss signed us up for it. They were like, our team can do it. And so we were thinking of ways to increase our efficiency, to increase our output in research and preparing people. So essentially, when it comes to earnings, which we also got recently told that from an outside consultant that we're the best, in the amount of reporting and amount of prep work that we do for our bosses. So for our CEO, CFO, we have white papers, we have questions that we put together. We go through each quarter and we say, what are the top 10, top 25 questions that we're hearing from all of our main investors? And so we keep track of that. And so over the last year, we have started using tools like Copilot to record conversations. So every meeting we set, we have a Copilot feature that records the conversation. We then go in and we say, hey, give me a key summary that goes along with this. List out all of the people that were in the meeting. So we have, who's in the meeting, what are the metrics, what did they say, how can we, what are the action items that we should get from this? And then we create all of these backup materials as we go into earnings meetings and things like that. So this AI project was essentially to work with our internal IT teams to develop a Copilot add-in that allows us to capture the information that we're keeping in our files, our digital files, to start doing that. So all of these manual processes that we had been doing quarter over quarter by saying all right, I have to go out to the call notes and I have to read through all of them and I have to see if I can come up with themes from these calls. It's a lot of manual work and a lot of manual thought too. It's not that we shouldn't be thinking of these things. It's just do we need to spend 4, 5 to 10 hours coming up with a 13-page document that may or may not be used?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I think that's a bad use of our time. When we should just be talking to investors and, strategizing of new ways to reach target people. So anyway, we took this upon our team. We're very, very small. And we developed this thing called the IR Partner. And it's essentially a Copilot add-in where we also had to reformat the way that we had been saving things. So we had to basically go into our files, rename everything to get everything aligned so that the process would work. And so it was just it was a lot of testing, going back and figuring out what's not working, why isn't it capturing this information, what are we not asking the questions correctly? So it's kind of like a library science exercise while also adding a digital component, while also then reporting back. So just recently in our recent town hall, my coworker Molly, who really took the charge in leading these weekly meetings with this IR team or IT team that's in India to build this thing. Anyway, she presented to the entire finance town hall, which was 1,200 people across the organization that all work in finance, to say, hey, IR is doing it. It's working. We're only in stage 1 or 2 at this point, but we are able to create these smaller documents that say these are the key themes that we've heard from our investors over the quarter. Tell me, I can go in and just ask the partner, what did we say relating to Q3 margins on our call? And it will just pull it, which is great. So it's, again, and it's an internal thing. So I guess one of the biggest challenges was you can do that through a third-party system. You can do that by using an AlphaSense or Q4, something like that. But you have to also have contracts. We also have defense contracts internally with our aerospace department and our filtration. So there are certain rules and regulations to where we can't share that information, or even if we had a contract, if for some reason there was a breach in their security, that's why we don't use ChatGPT, is because it's all out there. We can't utilize the tools that are available without getting into a little bit of a legal debate. So we had to have something internal that we could use to help with that. So I think that's one of the biggest, and it's an ongoing challenge, right? So it's a matter of as we get new people in IR, training them to put the information in correctly, to capture the correct information that we need to get the information out.
So with that in mind then, with, this initiative to incorporate AI, within your organization in different ways. Have you found there to be some resistance from people internally and their willingness to use it out of fear of it? Maybe coming for their job or making some of their responsibilities obsolete.
Sure. I don't think, like, I haven't seen that internally.
Okay.
I have seen the pushback of using it simply because it's not understood.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's a level of, you've got people that are very quick to do it. And I feel like that's a younger generation in the workforce who are very much like, oh, if I don't have to spend an hour reading this 100-page research report and I can just get a key summary in order to get my boss or get the information that I personally need to get out of it, great. Like, we're not out here saying, like, let's spend hours reading this. Where we're seeing resistance with using those tools is more, I don't know how to use it and I don't have time in my day to learn. I mean, there's a guy on my own team who literally didn't even use OneDrive until he absolutely had to. He had to get an email and was like, hey, we're deleting your files, like your shared files on your computer. You now have to use OneDrive. Like, you have to.
Uh-huh.
And he just didn't understand it. I was it looks exactly like a filing. Like, it's going to look exactly the same. It's just going to be in the cloud. And he's like, I don't understand.
Like, well, what if the clouds are gone? What if it's a sunny day?
Right.
Caroline and I went to a PRSA event here in Chicago, and it was about AI usage and some of that hesitancy. And I think there were some good points exactly to your point, where there's a little bit of that resistance because people don't understand or don't know how to use. And there are different reasons why somebody may have about, or have their feelings about AI. But I think that there were a lot of good points that were made during that. And that was a local, chapter conversation. But exactly to your point. So to see that now, or have that conversation or be part of that conversation, and then speak to somebody who obviously is not in this local area, not part of that conversation, also saying some of those same things, it reinforces those pieces.
Yeah, I think also at that panel, a lot of the resistance was not just from people who had been in the role that they were in for a long time, but newer, younger people concerned that I do that research, right? That's the only role that I have.
Right.
But it's sort of just shifting that role around, right? Every role is becoming just faster, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's a different routine for people, I guess, is what I meant.
Yeah. Kind of refining what you're doing to then be able to change or adapt and include these tools, rather than saying, okay, well, this is going to take my job completely. There's always, you need that human element. You need those pieces of thought, rationale, emotion, because at the end of the day, these are just machines. They're not rational. It's what's being programmed into it. It's what the programmers are adding to it. So being people, having rationale, having emotion, having thought, reasoning, it behooves you to really double down on those pieces, the humanity of it, the things that we can do that a machine can't do on its own. So yeah, I think that's
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and two points to that. So to your point, Caroline, is like, I feel like even if that person's in that research position and they're like, that's my job, that's what I do, like, I don't want to use it too much. And it's just like, well, there are times when I've used Copilot to like ask a question, and it actually gives me prompts of like things that I wouldn't have even thought to ask. Like, these are more in-depth things that I'm like, oh yeah, I would like to know that. And so I'll click the prompt, and then I'll learn more about a topic that I wasn't even thinking of at that point. So for me, I personally see it as a way to get more information, to be more informed so that I can be better at my job, than thinking of it as a way to eliminate my position. Because again, the second point is, in our careers as PR people, as IR people, I think personally, like, IR is just a PR job with a finance element. Yeah. Honestly, like, that's it. So it comes down to relationships. It comes down to building trust with people. It comes down to being transparent and being able to do the things that you say you're going to do, and that people can say, I like that guy. I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
Because again, IR is PR with a financial element, but it's a sales job. It comes down to being able to sell yourself, to sell your company, and, you know, to sell a story, essentially. Like we have financial metrics that support our story, but at the end of the day, like, you know, Eaton's doing things that like people are like, are you sure? Like, and because we built that trust, because we have that already, because there is that human element,
Yeah.
right? That like you have to have a face that goes along with that. Otherwise, I don't think that humans will ever stop questioning what somebody says.
Right.
I think there's that curiosity. There's the general reluctancy to just believe someone at face value. And if a computer goes and says like, hey, you should do this, like, why?
Right.
Where's the trust? Where is the human element that says like, yes, this is why I should put forth my capital to you? Whether that's, you know, your time, attention, money, talent, like, why should I do that? And I think we're always going to need that human element.
And that actually might be a really good segue into our last section here. You know, with everything that we've been talking about, for the listeners or viewers, if they're watching this on YouTube, if you had like, you know, one key takeaway for them to walk away with from your experiences in your role and everything that you were talking about with the adoption of AI at Eaton, what do you think that one key takeaway should be for them?
You know, I think a lot of times in my career, whether it's been at Eaton or wherever else, I feel like the relationships that I've built go beyond the work we're doing. And I think it's with that, it makes me invested in what I'm doing. It makes me feel good about the contributions that I'm making, whether it's at a nonprofit or volunteering or in my workspace. And I also feel like because like my team has developed such a tight-knit like family dynamic, like we're not all just like allowing each other to get passes. Like we are all very accountable for the work that we do because we love each other in a way that's like, we want each other to succeed. We want the company to succeed. And I feel like when we look at business in general, so many times you get people that do the back channeling. You get people that are like jockeying for position or use their ego in a way that's like, hey, I need to be the best and I need everybody to know that I'm the best. And it's like, well, you're only the best when you lift up others with you.
Yes.
And when you're a leader, people are like, somebody said something yesterday that like the key to leadership is not when, is essentially not when somebody believes you or when somebody trusts you, but when somebody's just curious, like somebody that just wants to see if you're right. Like that's when you know that you're leading people, you're giving your full effort, when people trust you and they're willing to go with you. So I feel like my key takeaway in all of my career, and especially at Eaton, has been like the teamwork that goes into creating what we do, whether that's the written content or the online content or a press release or going out and doing a customer visit. I think it all comes down to the relationships we're building and the willingness to lift up others so that everyone is seen instead of just the person that like is at the top.
Yeah, totally agreed. Like with my team at work, and I'm not just saying this because I'm sure they're going to be watching this episode. I would say this candidly as well. But you know, on the marketing team at Notified, I work with, you know, a handful of people that I talk to on a daily basis, and there very much is that sense of we all have the same collective goal of doing well as a group, as a collective. And my work influences theirs and their work influences mine and everything like that. And so we've built that sense of trust and we support each other, we elevate each other, and we hold each other accountable for things. Sometimes that might mean getting a little frustrated with someone when, you know, they're trying to push you to do your job better. But when that sense of trust has been established, where I know that it's coming from a good place, it's not them trying to, you know, frustrate me or anything. It's them trying to make sure that I'm doing as best as I can so that we all look like, you know, so that we're all collectively delivering the best quality products, whatever it is that we're doing is possible. I think that's very
like
important.
If your standards are up here, then my standards should be up here, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
It's like, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve? How am I going to support that for you? Like how best can we support each other? And I think it's all a matter of just like constant communication and that trust that you build in order to be able to have those hard conversations without feeling like scared to put forth a new idea or belittled some way by like, somebody says your idea sucks.
Or asking for help, right?
It's like,
Asking for help if you need help from someone, it's not gonna be met with like, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing. It's okay, I'll help you.
I mean, that's what I say anytime you ask me a question, that's my response usually.
Yeah.
What, you don't know this?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's even across teams. Like Carolina and I are both on the sales side, but on different teams. But we work together in the same office where asking questions, we're helping each other out, and it's that same point to push each other to be better. Because what's the old saying? A rising tide raises all ships. We all want to be the best. We all want to do well. We all want to achieve these goals. So putting that effort and making sure that, we're answering questions, we're asking for help, we're working with each other, regardless of what team we're on, makes the environment just that much better. Because who wants to be in a work environment where you're like, I'm scared to ask a question, I can't ask a question, and then to be able to get responses, to get that help and get that support, it just makes you feel better on the flip side of it. It's just like, I can do this job now. Like I feel like I can do it because I have that support. I know I can go to the people in the room or ask a question on Teams or somebody, in another state or another coast and get an answer and be able to say, okay, we're going to be able to do this and we can better ourselves and our team that way. So 100% agree.
And I think on the receiving end too, you also need to be able to acknowledge the vulnerability that somebody's putting forth by even asking you, right?
Yeah.
Shows that they trust you enough to get that. So I think if you're on the receiving end, you can understand that was a very vulnerable thing for that person to even do. And so if we just continually show each other the benefit of the doubt and just be willing to support each other and understand that vulnerability is important and should be praised, that I think most corporations would get better at just being healthy.
Yeah.
Culturally.
Absolutely. Rachel, this has been fantastic. I'm so glad we brought you on, and especially after you were talking about everything that you've done over the course of your career. I'm like, God, there's so many more conversations I want to have, but I know we've already been talking for a while.
And in between all of these, and this is what I did.
Well, thank you so much today. This has been great, and we would love to have you back sometime in the future. We really do appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you. And thanks to Pat for bringing it up.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, for everyone watching or listening at home, thank you so much for listening in, and we hope to see you at the next episode. Thank you. Take care.